Okay, so in today's video I'm going to be making some Halloween coasters, so if you want to see what I do and how I do it, then keep on watching. Okay, so I bought a pack of 4 like wooden logs basically. I don't think they're like necessarily supposed to be like used as coasters or anything like that, but yeah, I just found these like 4 wooden logs in a pack together. So yeah, I bought 2, so obviously I could do some Halloween ones and then I can do some Christmassy ones as well. But yeah, I just decided that it would maybe be cute to have like a design on the wooden log. I like the sort of rusticy feel of a wooden log as a coaster. So yeah, I thought it would be a little bit more, I don't know, a little bit like, I didn't want to just get like, obviously you can buy specific like coasters to actually paint on, but I didn't actually want to do that. I wanted to get something a little bit more rustic, obviously, hence getting these. But anyway, on to the first design, which has already been drawn out, as you can see. So we have a little ghost and then a couple of pumpkins and some flowers around him, and he has a little witch's hat on as well. So yeah, I drew the design out, and then you can see I drew some like flowers along the side as well. So those flowers didn't actually end up getting painted. I ended up painting over those. Basically I decided that I liked it how it was and I didn't actually want to add the flowers and leaves on the sides. Also, I couldn't really figure out the right colour for it. So yeah, I just thought it would be easier to just not do them. But yeah, obviously you can see that I've painted the little ghost, obviously leaving his eyes, and then moved on to the pumpkin. So the pumpkin was sort of one colour, and then I went in with a darker colour to add in some shadows and some lines just to make it a little bit more three-dimensional and add some more like dimension and just make it look more semi-realistic, I guess. And then as you can see, I went back in and did his eyes afterwards. I don't really know why I didn't do both pumpkins at the same time whilst I still had the colour mixed up, but obviously I didn't. I decided to do his eyes and then I did the witch's hat afterwards. So I just mixed up a grey colour, sort of a lightish, maybe more of a medium grey colour, and then I made added some more black and made it a little bit darker to be able to do some shadows and like creases in the hat. So yeah, I did that and then went back in to the second pumpkin, as you can see now. So I literally just used the exact same technique, just used a similar base colour and just painted the whole thing, and then went back in and did the shadow lines afterwards, and obviously added that detail back in, because obviously I had drawn it, which really I didn't really need to do because I ended up obviously painting over the whole thing anyway, but I guess I could still kind of see it as a guide. So yeah, it was still helpful to have. And then this was the point where I decided that I didn't actually want to have the flowers and leaves there. So obviously you can see that I actually did paint the flowers green, and then decided that I actually didn't like them. So I then went in and started painting the background. Obviously we had sort of most of it painted now. So yeah, I went in and started painting the background on the sides that were all finished. And then the last thing that I did was paint the little leaves in front of him brown. So he had some little brown leaves, and then I painted this flower as well. So I ended up going for sort of a pink and red kind of theme for it. I don't really know why, I just thought it would work quite nicely with the orange, and it didn't really require too much mixing of the paint. So I thought if I wanted to use that kind of colour on any of the others, then it wouldn't really matter because it's not too difficult to actually mix together. So yeah, I just painted the whole flower with the pink colour and then went in with the red to do some details and add in some more definition and bring some sort of like life back to the flower. And then we did a little black centre, and then that was the first coaster finished. So for the second one, I decided that I wanted to do a white background. So this one I painted completely white first of all, instead of drawing my design and then painting the background, which you will see why in a moment. If I'd painted this design and then painted the background, I think it would have been really annoying and probably quite stressful. So yeah, I just painted the background white and then obviously waited for it to dry and then drew on my design, which was a spider in a web. So yeah, we had the little spider in the middle, as you can see, and then the web all on the outside. So for this one I decided to actually just use a black pen to design it and draw it on, because I thought it would just be a little bit thinner and a little bit easier to control than what a paintbrush would be. But this did actually kind of come back to haunt me in the end when I varnished them, because I forgot that the varnish would probably actually react with the ink. And it did. So yeah, you'll have to wait and see what happened to it. I think in the end it actually made it look quite cool and probably actually made it look a little bit better than it did before, but what happened to it definitely was not intentional. But yeah, I do think it looks good in the end. And obviously you can see here we have the spider and the web complete, and then the last thing I did was just go in and add some tiny little white highlights like into the spider and on little bits of the web, but obviously it's quite difficult to see with it being quite small, and obviously yeah, the actual highlights that I put in were not that big either. So yeah, they are definitely there, but they are a little bit hard to see. But yeah, that was the second one done, and that definitely didn't take as long as the first one did. But yeah, that's probably on account of the fact that I use pens for it. But anyway, we then move into the third one, which I actually lost some of the footage for. Obviously you've just seen me draw the design on and then all of a sudden it's painted. So yeah, I somehow lost the footage of me painting the pumpkin, but I essentially went through the same sort of process that I went through with the pumpkins on the first one. So yeah, I obviously found or drew the shape, and then obviously did some shading, and then drew like the eyes, the mouth and the nose, and then I couldn't really figure out what I wanted around it, so I decided to just put some flowers around it, similar to how we have in the first one. So we have like the pink flower, and then yeah, obviously we've got the pumpkins with it as well. So yeah, I definitely went along the same sort of line. But yeah, that was basically what we did for these ones. So we had 2 flowers on this one, and then on the right hand side, as you can see, there is some leaves on that side as well. So it did sort of take me a little while to actually paint the first one and get that down and how I actually wanted it. But once I had got the first one down, the second one was much easier. Obviously I could just sort of run off of the base template of what I'd done for the first one, and then yeah, once both of the flowers were done, it was basically just the leaves, which I just did a dark green colour, and then obviously just used a darker green to add in some shadows and yeah, some shading. Also, if it makes any difference to anyone or if anybody's interested, the paints that I use are the acrylic Winsor & Newton paints. They're just, I don't know, I've used them for years and I feel like I don't really like any other acrylic paint. It is quite expensive. I mean, I'm sure there's probably more expensive ones out there, but they are still quite expensive. I think they're like £8 or £9 a tube. They might even be more than that now. But yeah, I just find that they are just the best for how I use acrylics, and I love the colour payoff of them as well, and how they look in the tube is how they come out and how they paint. So yeah, they are definitely worth the money, and like I say, I have not really used anything else for quite a few years. But yeah, the actual paints themselves last really long. I mean, for the sort of painting that I do, I mean, if I was painting quite large scale quite a lot of the time, then obviously I would be buying them more often, but I don't tend to do very much large scale painting anymore. So yeah, they're still ideal for what I use them for. But yeah, obviously you can see there that I just did another black background on that one. And then obviously you can see on this one has a white background. So yeah, I basically decided that I was going to have 2 with a black background and 2 with a white background, which I thought was quite a cool idea, I guess, to kind of keep them cohesive with each other. And this last one that I just did a little bat. So I thought this would be quite cute. So yeah, we have the obviously like the dark grey bat on a white background, and then I also painted in a little moon at the top as well. I do definitely think that if I was going to do any of them again, it would be this one, and I would make this part of the bat that I'm painting now, I would make it a little bit lighter, so that when I'm putting in like the shadows and the shading and whatever else, they show up a little bit more. On camera they don't really show up very well at all. I mean, in person you can see them a little bit more, but yeah, that would probably be my one sort of criticism for this one, is that I feel like although when I was doing it it felt like it was light enough, I don't think ultimately it actually was. And then for the body and like the head, I did make the paint a little bit lighter again, but again it wasn't that much lighter. So yeah, obviously like now with the wings and that, all of the detailing and like the shadows and stuff have been put in, but you can't really see it too much on camera, especially like in person you can see it a little bit more, but yeah, definitely on camera it is a little bit difficult to see. But yeah, you can see here I'm sort of going in with some black paint and doing some like texture work to try and make the bat look a little bit fluffy. And then yeah, obviously here again you can see I'm putting in like the shadows and the detail, but yeah, again on camera you can't really see it too well. But yeah, we put all of the shadows and stuff in, and then the last thing that I had to do was pop in the eyes. Yeah, so I had the eyes and the nose to do as well. So yeah, I did those, and then the last thing that I did was obviously paint the moon, and then that was the fourth one done. Then the last thing that I did was just add in a layer of varnish on top of all of them. So yeah, I just obviously poured out the varnish into a like paint tray, and then just spread over a thin layer of varnish. So it said on the bottle that they like recommended doing 2, and yeah, you can see what happened here. The varnish reacted with the ink and kind of spread it a little bit, so I kind of tried to work with it and manipulate it a little bit to actually make it look intentional, and in the end I think it did actually come out quite good. But the same thing did happen a tiny bit with the bat, because I used the same pen for the details on the bat. So yeah, I kind of again had to sort of like manipulate it and push it back into place almost. And yeah, the varnish on this one is a little bit thicker because I kind of like patted it on in the end. But yeah, I think they all came out really good, and the following day I put a second coat on. So yeah, they should all be good to go now. So as you would have just seen, these are the coasters that I made. So we've got those 2 there, and then these 2 as well. So they've now all of them have now had 2 coats of varnish, so everything should be sealed and all good to go. But yeah, let me know if you liked them down below. I also have another set, so I'm going to do some Christmassy ones, so if you have any ideas for the Christmas ones, then please let me know as well. But yeah, other than that, make sure to like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye!